Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our talk, which is about a hackathon, the anatomy of an AI hackathon that we ran in Waitrose Online. I'm Matt Osborn. I lead the technology delivery and operations teams in Waitrose Online. Unlike all the great talks, this one being no exception, I'm going to start with a story about Lego. Who here is a Lego fan and likes building Lego? Quite a few. Good. Who hates it because you've stood on it too many times? Yeah. So, I recently bought my son, he's 8 years old, it was for him, a huge Lego castle, 7,000 pieces. I knew it would be, or I thought it would be, the ultimate product for him, going to give him lots of value, lots of playtime. Spent 3 months building the thing, lots of investment into building this highly complex structure. Built it, presented to him, guess what? Never played with it, just sat on the shelf, collecting dust, absolutely no value. Got back from work a couple of weeks later. The castle that I'd spent 3 months building and investing lots of time in was now in 7,000 different pieces on the floor, and he was sat there with 6 little mini things. At first I was like, oh my God, I've just spent 3 months building that thing and you've just destroyed it. That is you've just kind of ruined it. But then I kind of took a step back actually and thought, well, actually, what can I learn from what he's doing there? What he actually was doing was building 6 mini prototypes. He'd done it in the afternoon, right? Very little investment of time, but he was getting a lot of value from them. He was playing from them. He consolidated that down to 3 and continued to play from them. And 6 months later, he still plays with those 3 new structures that he's just built. And that really kind of leads us quite nicely into hackathons and why do them. I feel like hackathons have kind of fallen out of favor recently, maybe. So 15 years ago, I felt like I did a hackathon every 3 months, 6 months, but kind of not heard them for a while. And let's just think about the definition. So a hack is from Middle English, Old English, around cut into pieces, or a quick or inelegant solution. An athon, like a marathon, is involving an activity of lots of people. And the reason that hackathons are really valuable, especially in the AI world and building technology products, is because you don't have to invest that much time to get a lot of value out, right? So, they're going to foster teamwork and collaboration. You might get some products that you might want to build as well. So, we'll come onto it in the talk, but out of a bunch of ideas, which you might luckily pick one, spend 6 months building it, invest loads of money in it, and then find out it fails. Actually, you might get 1, 2, 3, 10 new ideas that doesn't take you too much time and investment to build. It's going to foster that sense of teamwork as well, out of the other benefits of that around collaboration, teamwork, have some fun, cross-functional teams, as well as actually maybe getting these new ideas onto your product roadmap. So that's really what we wanted to achieve in Waitrose Online when we said, let's do a hackathon. But we didn't really know how we would use AI, new technology. How are we going to use that to solve problems? And we didn't, to be honest, even know what problems we wanted to solve. So a hackathon was a really ideal way of doing that. Because very quickly we could get a menu of, I think, 70 ideas in the end, and very quickly over the course of a couple of days actually build some prototypes and decide out the back of that which ones are going to give most value. And Archie's going to tell us how we did that in under 8 weeks.
Yeah, can we clap? I'm going to explain how you can set up a hackathon, so hopefully it's useful. So there were like 8 stages leading up to the event. So there was kickoff, defining the problem, so what sort of problem statement, what goal are we trying to achieve from the actual event. We've got the event foundation, so all the kind of things you need to do to set up for the event. Nathan was saying earlier, ideation, very important. So this was discussing and mapping ideas that we could prototype at the hackathon event that could solve the problem that we outlined at the start. Obviously forming teams, so forming teams to get the ideas, what teams are going to be working on certain ideas as part of the event. We've got the tech stuff that Nathan's going to go through in a little bit more detail later. So around setting up the tooling infrastructure, repos and environments and those sort of things, which is good. And then obviously the week before was all final preparations, which we'll go in a little bit more detail later on in this presentation, but setting up, making sure all the people participating in the event had a bit of pre-training going into the event itself. And then obviously, the hackathon in week 8. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail now, how we managed to set up this 100+ person hackathon in just 8 weeks. The first part, week 1, kickoff. So we formed a working group who would set up and organise the event. So this working group was cross-functional. So we had all the skill sets that we needed within that working group to set up the hackathon event. So we had a front-end engineer, a back-end engineer, a QA, we had a UX researcher, so different skill sets as part of that working group. We met every once a week, 10:30 on a Monday morning, where we'd check in and synchronise on the actions and goals that we needed to achieve for that week. So we had that on a Monday morning. As part of the week 1, we agreed the length and dates for the hackathon. So we did 3 days hacking, 1 day, final day of demos and presentations. But we recommend at least kind of 2 to 3 days of hacking at least, and then half a day at least for the final day demos and presentations. And then, as part of that working group in week 1, we agreed the mode of the hackathon. So are you going to have the hackathon all in person? Are you going to have it fully remote? Or are you going to have a hybrid of both? So we actually had it remote for the 3 days of hacking because all our teams were dispersed all over the world. And then the last day, we had a remote option where people could demo and listen in online, but also had a in-person kind of setup so people could come in and go for lunch after and that sort of stuff, which was nice. Moving over to week 2, it's all around defining the problem statement. This is to ensure there was a problem statement. We knew what the vision was for the event. We knew what we were trying to solve. So the one we had at the partnership was explore how AI can help tailor our customer experience and improve team productivity. We wanted to use Hackathon as a springboard to foster new innovative ideas, solve problems, encourage better collaboration, and understand the art of the possible. So we were trying to see how could we use AI as a technology to offer new customer features, but also how do we make the developer experience much better and more efficient and quicker internally at the partnership and at Waitrose. That was the problem statement. And then as part of week 2, we sent out kind of communications to people around the event, so a sign-up link to get the numbers of who's joining, have they got any ideas that they want to pursue as part of the event, and all those sort of things. So moving over to week 3, it's kind of a bit of admin really, building the foundations. So we finalised the sign-up and event attendee list and numbers, so we knew how many people were attending the event. We booked the conference room for final day demos and presentations. I think that's Matt's only job he did. We organised 3 to 4 judges for the event. So we had like a judging panel for the event who would judge against a certain scoring criteria as and when the demos and prototypes were delivered on the final day. And then, as part of that, we had a judges scoring criteria. So how well did an idea meet or solve the problem statement we set out at the start of the event, and those sort of things. So we had a kind of scoring criteria and judges all ready to go. From the sign-up link, we got information from people around their level expertise and what training needs they needed before the event. So we summarised that and made sure we knew what we needed to do prior to the event. And then we set up some watch parties, so we all got into a room or on a remote call and watched kind of certain videos around AI to kind of bring up our skill sets and experience. And then, we set up many pre-training learning sessions as well. Also part of week 3, just more admin really, set up the hackathon placeholder calendar invites for the signed up attendees. And then we set up a master kind of comms channel. So we use Slack. So we had a Slack channel where we could kind of stay in touch and send comms out to everyone participating in the event in one go. And then, as part of week 3, we set up the ideation session for week 4, which nicely takes us to this slide. So ideation. So we held an ideation session. So this is where you start as a group mapping and discussing certain ideas that we could prototype as part of the event, and whether these ideas would kind of solve the problem statement that we set out. So you can use kind of exercises like 1, 2, 4, and all. As a kind of a good kind of workshop mapping session and those sort of things. But we actually, we did a kind of a mapping session, and we actually measured these ideas against a AI assessment framework that we built to see how valid these ideas would be, and that sort of stuff. So really cool, very useful. And like Matt said earlier, we populated about 70 ideas in total that we could potentially pursue as part of the hackathon event and start prototyping and those sort of things. And then as part of the ideation workshop, and after that as part of the wash-up in week 4, we refined and prioritised the ideas from the workshop. And also we collated a load of ideas from the sign-up survey that we sent out to everyone who was signing up for the event. So we kind of got them all into one place, started prioritising them, and kind of trying to start to agree what ones are we going to go for at the event and that sort of stuff with the input of people attending and also the working group. So I think out of the 70 ideas, we decided that there were 7 ideas that we'd go for and prototype and get teams to prototype against as part of the event. Moving into week 5, so this is all around kind of coordinating and forming the teams. So we formed the teams against those chosen 7 ideas. We made sure, similar to the working group, made sure the teams were cross-functional. So we made sure there was a front-end developer, a back-end developer, quality engineer, UX, UI. So they all had the skill sets to be able to deliver what they needed to as part of the prototype during the event, which is cool. And then, there's a couple of admin bits, just preparing for the kickoff session. So when you're kicking off the event, we went through kind of the format of the day and that sort of stuff, which was good. And then, we had a template that we sent out to teams for the final day demos and presentations. So we had everyone could kind of prepare for what they were going to present in a master deck, and that was just easier to kind of facilitate and go through on the final day when we're doing the presentations and demos. Week 6, the tech stuff. I won't go into too much detail because Nathan's going to go through it in a minute. But this was all around, in week 6, was all around setting up the relevant team repos and environments which will be used, and making sure there were kind of instructions and tech sessions to show how attendees can set up and access the relevant environments, hitting the required endpoints. And I'm going to pass over to Nathan shortly, who's just going to go into a little bit more detail about it. I'm ready.
Cool. So, the tech stuff. First of all, don't panic. My name's Nathan Cashmore. I'm the back-end engineering lead in the partnership. So, obviously, I have lots of technical bits and pieces that I could tell you, but I'm not going to impart all of that knowledge with you, and it's not going to get more complicated than that diagram on the right, just so we're clear. That's because this is AI for the rest of us, and really, this is very much around the thought process that went behind setting this stuff up for the engineers. So I've broken it down into 3 categories, really, which is learning, enabling, and the support that's provided by that. The learning's really key. It forms part of everything that we do in AI at the moment, and it gets a lot of people over the fear of AI if they can understand what it is before they start. As part of that, we decided that to learn, what the important part was that we could educate engineers before the event actually started. Archie hinted to it previously, but first of all, we had a watch party, a very straightforward, simple, big Miro board, a couple of presentations that we played back to all of the people who are going to be attending the event. That's everything from engineers to product owners, so they could have a really good idea of what AI was, but in a very simplistic terminology, make it very, very easy language for them all to understand. That would educate them all on the basic concepts that we were looking at. And then also give them an opportunity to gather, for us to gather the expectations that those people were going to have. So we were trying to answer 3 questions as part of that. What do you already know about AI? What are the pain points you've experienced with AI? and what would you like to learn during the hackathon? And that was really important because it created conversations, produced a large mirror board, but also helped us to refine what we would teach people during the day and how we would propose to put it together. The second part was really an AI for developers course. There's bags of stuff out there as far as learning how to write the code, how to hit an LLM, how to do certain different bits. But putting that in the hands of the developers meant that they didn't have to ask. They could come along to a session, run through some tutorials, and go through and actually work out what putting the pieces of the puzzle together just to hit an LLM to make it easy. That gave them an opportunity to experiment with all of the fundamentals, upskilled the engineers to a base level of knowledge, and that was important. So when we hit the hackathon, they were already there and could run quite quick. We also used the learning sessions that they didn't know to validate all of the environments and setup that we had. So we also knew everyone who was coming was already set up, and it would be easy for them to get going. And that was important because the hackathon is a very short amount of time. The last bit there is don't assume any previous experience or knowledge. That's a mistake we've made in the past, but in this instance, we made sure that everything was from the bottom up, so everyone went through that learning exercise. Next part was enabling. So really, the question here was enabling, so when we actually got to those examples, we could build them quickly. Think about your data. I know Rob was saying, don't worry about the data, it's not a problem. But with all of these examples that we went through and the sessions we wanted, data was quite key. So you had to have data in a place that was available to then use within that hackathon. So that was important. Building simple AI examples. Again, we had the code. We could build those different AI examples so there was a minimal effort for the engineers to hit an LLM or even have a slight example of a RAG model, because a lot of the problems, we could see that would help them get there faster. Cover multiple languages. We had all people from all specialisms, front end, back end, data engineers. We had people who were going to be writing code coming from different backgrounds. So we covered examples in Python, in TypeScript, and in Java, just to make sure the community, again, could get ahead quicker, all enablers. And lastly, just again, I'll reiterate the validating the setup before the event. We had pipelines that we produced. We had a thought process around, are you going to be developing it locally, or are you going to be deploying your application? All things to make it quicker for the engineers to go faster on the day. So that was really important. Last bit was the support. Really the sort of communication aspect of this is key. So we use Slack quite heavily. So we had Slack canvases to basically give all of the information that was there, making sure that we communicate with all of the engineers that were going to be there. So that was really important. And we documented all of that environment configuration just to make it really easy. It's always referenceable. The engineers know where to go. So again, on the day, they can go as fast as possible. The very last point on support, encourage a hive mind mentality. The problem with hackathons is everyone's competing with each other and everyone likes to keep their secret little bit of development because they're getting ahead of the game. So what we tried to do is foster a hive mind mentality amongst the engineers, and that was to make sure that they were helping each other go along in that learning process. So in fact, and that made a big difference in the channels, and you could see the conversations to and fro. Everyone was helping each other to get to that end goal, to give the best solution. After that, I'll hand over to Archie with the clicker.
There we go. Going into week 7, so we had final preparations. So similar to what Nathan just said, we set up, we had the team set, we knew what ideas they were going to prototype against. So we set up individual Slack channels. So as soon as the event started, they had a space where they could talk their team, get going in the event, and that sort of stuff. We had a judges Slack channel that we spoke to leading up to the event. We also built a scoring matrix, like an automated scoring matrix against the scoring criteria that we agreed earlier on in the preparation. Because it was automated, they could score as the demos were being presented, the 7 ideas. So at the end, we had the result fairly quickly. We didn't have to kind of move around with paper and that sort of stuff, trying to remember who did what and that sort of stuff. So we had an automated scoring matrix, similar to what Nathan mentioned on the previous slide, we had kind of a tech reps and tech support Slack channel. So if you had issues or you were snagging kind of technical issues during the event, you could go in and speak to 50 plus engineers, for example, to get help, understand what the problems were and that sort of stuff. So that was very useful. And then, we held watch parties, similar to what Nathan said, where we got in the room and watched certain videos and that sort of stuff. We had pre-training and learning sessions and recommended pre-reading materials and videos to watch and that sort of stuff prior to the event to kind of bring you up to kind of a fairly level of expertise. And then, we had a tech drop-in session. So this is where we sat down with the engineers and kind of helped them set up their environments ready for the event. So as soon as the event came round, they were ready to go, and you weren't messing or missing on half a day setting up with environment access and those sort of things. So finally, week 8, yay. We got day 1, we had Teams hacking. Day 2, Teams hacking, and then we had day 3 where teams could hack and then prepare their final demos of the prototypes that they built. So that was half a day hacking and preparing for those demos. And then, day 4 was all around, demo presentations, the judges' votes, winners announced, and that sort of stuff. So we did this, obviously remote and in person, so a hybrid of both. And then, we had a team lunch afterwards. So it was good, really energizing day. And definitely similar to what Matt said at the start, really increased the morale, and it was a good fun event to do, and it had that. So that was week 8. I suppose it's worth mentioning during that week, you just had to be around, really, the working group, solve problems and queries as and when they arised. We sent out final com reminders, so on the day 3, remember, you got to prepare those demos for the final days and that sort of stuff. We sent instructions around how you could access and find the room for the final day demos if you were going in person to the conference room. Myself, we got to the room on the final day demos 90 minutes before to set up, just to make sure all the tech setup's there and that sort of stuff. You don't want to be there 15 minutes for the event trying to kind of get everything set up and working and that sort of stuff. So they allow you enough time before the actual final day event, 90 minutes, hour and a half, to kind of get set up properly, make sure all the kind of remote conferencing, speakers and all that is working and that sort of stuff. And remember photos and videos for the events. Make sure there's photos, videos and that sort of stuff which can be used afterwards. And then we kind of, week 9, it was all around post-event wash-up activities. So we sent out a feedback survey, the whole continuous improvement and that sort of stuff, see what went well, what could we do differently, improve going forward next time at the next event that we're going to do next year. We posted on the social media channels, we're here on conferences and that sort of stuff, promoting what we did to try and share that knowledge within the community. And then, we made sure we closed down the environments which were used during the event, which was costing the business. So we didn't want to let those carry on running them and lose money and that sort of stuff. We've archived all the materials that we've used as part of the hackathon into a single repository. So if anyone from John Lewis needs to do a hackathon, or anyone else wants to run a hackathon, they have all the repositories and documents and stuff that they need to know how to organise it all ready to go. So it should make it a lot easier and quicker next time when we organise one. And then, we're in the exciting stage, really, all around making the ideas a reality. So we're going through the 7 ideas that we prototyped during the event. And just trying to come up with a plan of action, really, to how can we accommodate on those on teams' roadmaps and make them a reality and, put them out into production for our customers, really. So, exciting stuff. Cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through each question line by line from every box. I'm only joking. I won't bore the audience. But we have a hackathon canvas here. We have a blank template as well, where you can write your answers to the questions as well. If you'd like one, or if you'd like this presentation and have the blank template, let us know. Find me after this, and we can send it over to you. But it's just got loads of questions here. Oh, was that me? Yeah. So it's just got loads of questions here, so loads of prompts. So you've got kind of kick-off, like who's going to be in your working group, how often will the working group meet up, and that sort of stuff. You've got the format, how long is the hackathon going to be, will the hackathon be in person, fully remote, hybrid, or both. You've got a vision box, so what's the motivation behind the hackathon, what would a successful outcome look like. You've got ideas, so it talks about like have we organised that ideation workshop we need to do to discuss and map those ideas. We've got all the pre-training and tech setup questions. You've got the participants and teams. So who's participating in the event? Do each teams have a balance of kind of skill sets and cross-functional skills and that sort of stuff? So yeah, this canvas is kind of there to help you, guide you along the way, make sure you're covering all the things that you need to do, as well as the plan, obviously, we've shown to try and make it a successful hackathon when you set up your own. And I'm going to pass you over to Matt, who's just going to go through the results and outcomes of the event.
I've just realised we are really pushing the boundaries of innovation here. 3 presenters in 30 minutes and talking about AI. I mean, how more cutting edge can you get? So wanted to give, I guess, a flavour for what came out of the hackathon. There were kind of 3 pertinent things that really stuck out for me. One was a time-boxed space of time for people to learn together. So, say, 100 people, kind of 1 in 4 people out of the entire business, kind of all focused on the world of AI, from rank beginners to some people who are fairly expert, but really bringing the whole organisation kind of culturally on that journey was a real win. Secondly, most importantly, was the new product ideas that came out. So from 70 ideas, 7 prototypes, 3 things actually are now on our digital roadmap that we are delivering for customers. Can't tell you specifically what they are. You're going to have to shop in Waitrose online and tell us what they were and see if you can notice the changing customer journey. But what I can say is they range from inspiring you in your shop and how you might plan your meals. They help you in your journey as a customer when you get stuck on stuff, and some stuff in the background as well, as far as kind of technical erroring as well. So a real wide mix of, I guess, use cases in those various areas. And then thirdly, is really inspiring across the business. So we've probably had, a couple of messages a week from various areas in the business of like, wow, how did you guys do it? So we've talked through this presentation a couple of times now with, you might know the John Lewis partnership. There's Waitrose and John Lewis. We are one big family, obviously, but kind of operate as slightly separate businesses at times. But this is a real opportunity to kind of come together and kind of inspire that range of business. And we hope we've inspired you guys too to try your own hackathon. I'd recommend them. Thank you very much.